Hey everyone, Joey here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the AOSTAR WTR Max. Now, you might be thinking, what is this? Is it a NAS? Is it a mini PC? The answer is actually it is both. And what does this have to do with retro gaming and retro handhelds? And the answer is, I'm going to tell you this through song and dance. Nope, we are not doing that. Look, there is a high correlation between people that know how to use RetroArch and those of you that are doing servers at home for whatever reason. It's been studied. There's actual data out there about this. And as one of those people who happens to have a home server and actually knows how to use RetroArch, I thought to myself, when I saw this, I had to have it. But number two, I have to do a review on it. So we're going to talk all about NAS and mini PC today, and I'm going to relate it back to retro gaming and retro handhelds too. Now, I have shown off my previous server setup before. It's kind of embarrassing, but it was a minis forum mini PC. There was 2 external hard drive bays, which are meant for cloning, but I was using as actual bays. And so I had an entire entanglement of wires and disaster held together by hopes and dreams and duct tape and all other kinds of nonsense. But now, this beautiful beast of a mini PC that has 11 damn bays of storage, of which I have filled 6 of them with hard drives. And with what, you might be asking? My answer depends on if you're the FBI or not. But first, thank you to Whatgeek for sending this over for review. They have the no RAM, no SSD version for $827 US shipped worldwide, using my code Joey12 for 12% off. Or there is a 32GB version with 1TB SSD for $968 US. That is the model that I have here today, so that's what we'll be using today. And then there is also a 64GB RAM option with 2TB of storage for $1,091 US. All of this is after my coupon. Now, a lot of that won't make sense until we see the actual specs, but I will say this is priced actually competitively for what this is and what you can do. There's 11 bays of storage, has an 8845HS processor inside. There's a whole bunch more, so let's talk about it. First up, it is actually pretty easy to access the solid state drive and RAM. If you wanted the bare bones option, it is just 4 screws, and then you pop the bottom off, and then you have access to really everything that you want right there. You just have to be careful because the fan is connected to the bottom, and just be careful pulling it off. Unlike me, who just kind of tore the entire thing off and the fan came with it. Now, it is good to have access to the CMOS battery too, because that is one of the first things that goes on mini PCs and really everything else in this hobby. You might be wondering, how do I know that? Well, the moment that I transferred everything over from my Minis Forum mini PC to the AOSTAR, the CMOS battery on my Minis Forum died. I had to replace it. So that is how I know that those things go. That thing was running for like a year, just fine, 24/7. The moment I turned it off and transferred everything over, it died. So keep that in mind. Now on the memory front, this does support ECC memory too, for those wondering. Nice little addition. Now let's talk about the 32GB 1TB SSD one, because that's what I have here. Again, processor-wise, we have the Ryzen 7 Pro 8845HS with the Radeon 780M GPU. This is an upgraded 8840U for those of you familiar with that processor, because it's been on most PC handhelds. So if you've had a PC handheld from GPD or 1xPlayer or any of these other companies, the 8840U, that's the same here. It's pretty much on par with a Z1 Extreme as well, if you have an ROG Ally X and that sort of thing. All of that to say, it is pretty capable on a gaming front as well as everything else. Now, this also delivered with Windows 11 Pro right on it. And I was not expecting that because usually you get Windows 11 Home. And I have to say, delivering with Pro already, and I don't have to make that swap myself, is a beautiful thing. And on top of that, Windows is the operating system that I actually use already. So this just delivered ready to go without me having to do anything. Now, you can change the operating system to other operating systems if you want to use Linux for whatever reason, but I am a Windows guy through and through, so it was nice to have this just delivered. There are a myriad of ports here with the SD card slot on the front, USB, USB-C, and power button. But also on the front is an LCD panel showing you the stats of the PC and your drives. There is CPU usage and temps, RAM usage and temps, date and time, your local IP address, so don't worry, you can't hack me with this, and then all of the hard drive temperatures. The back has a 3.5mm audio jack, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort, 2 USB-A ports, Oculink port because why not, USB 4 port because again, why not, eGPU, all the things, why not. 2 2.5GB Ethernet ports, which is insanity, but also 2 10GB LAN SFP Plus ports, which is even more insane. And then there's DC power. But the real star of this show is the hot swappable drive bays. Making sure the PC is off so we don't blow it up, you can just push on the little number, of which they are stickers that I actually put on myself because stickers are fun and why not? The drive bays pop out and you can easily just remove the drive, put a new one in and stuff it back in the slot and off you go. All 7 of these bays work the exact same way except for the first one. The first one is special. It has 4 NVMe drive slots in this one bay. This thing has storage for days. Even I don't have a use for all of these bays, but it is insanity. Now, something to note is 2 slots are X1 and the other 2 slots are X2 for speeds. So you will not be getting the full speeds out of these, unfortunately, which means you can go with a slower speed NVMe just for data, basically. Now, I converted my Minis Forum mini PC disaster over to this thing about a week or so ago, so I've been playing around with it quite a bit for the last week, and I've been able to test it in a lot of different scenarios. It has been super solid, rock solid, impressive. I don't know why I didn't make this change sooner. Look, this is my first time with an actual NAS. Up until this point, I have run my own DIY PCs with external drive bays connected to whatever. I had little external hard drives from Seagate and all of that. But then my storage kept growing and growing and growing to the point where you can see what it looked like with the Minis Forum PC and the external drive bays. I had 6 different hard drives, all external, and it was a disaster. And now they are all in this big beast of a thing, and it's so much better. Now, obviously, combining all of my drives into one easy-to-use system is an improvement in its own thing, along with having the fans to cool them down, all of that. But the entire PC is just silent. There is like no noise at all. And they have fans going on. There is 2 fans in the back. There is the 1 fan on the bottom. And I don't hear this at all. I had this next to me my entire week, next to where I was doing all of my PC usage for actually creating videos and all of that sort of thing. I don't hear it. I completely forgot it was there. So as far as the noise goes, there's kind of nothing here. I also measured the power draw from the plug, keeping in mind that I have 5 or 6 hard drives. I actually cannot remember how many drives I have in this. 5 or 6 hard drives in the bay, and the main solid state drive, the RAM, all of that sort of thing. And the idle power draw was an average of mid 50 watts, which is basically nothing. Under load, using OCCT to test this with a stress test, I didn't see anything above 120 watts, mostly 115 to 120 watts during the stress test, but it is so unoften that I would ever stress test or use this at max load for any time period. Now, to tie this all back to retro gaming, retro handhelds, my server PC previously had all of my ROMs, and they are now here. All of my saves, which are now here, and a bunch of other things that I do, like Plex and all that sort of thing. Home server stuff, photos, all of that. All of that is now on here. And so this runs 24/7 in my house, which means that it has to be fairly efficient, but also it has to work. I have to be able to access it, and from any device, which includes retro handhelds. That also does mean I have done a lot of SyncThing videos. SyncThing runs on here as well, because it is 24/7. So when I have to sync a save, sync a ROM, all of that, it's super easy because the PC is always on. Now, for what I personally do, I share the drives from this PC across my network. And that is really easy to do for anybody that hasn't done this. You right-click whatever drive or folder if you want, Properties, Sharing, Advanced Sharing, Share this folder, click Permissions, give everyone full control because we live dangerously around here, and then just apply. Now, all of the devices in my network can see this folder with all of my ROMs on it. And you have seen me use Solid Explorer in a lot of different videos, and that I use on Android to connect to this PC. And that just makes it so easy because I can just connect, I add this PC as a LAN connection in Solid Explorer, and it just works as a file explorer there. So I have on the right, my ROMs from the PC, on the left, the internal storage from my actual Android device, and I move files and folders back and forth. Super easy, and I can do this all from my couch. Now, this doesn't just apply to Android, Windows, same thing. My PC on my network, I just check it through the network settings, and I can access any shared drives through there. Linux devices, as long as they have Wi-Fi and some sort of ability to connect to LAN, same sort of idea. So you can see how powerful this is for anybody that is in this hobby that is using multiple devices or even just one device and they don't want to get up like I do. Now, 11 bays of storage is overkill for just ROMs, of course, but Plex usage is awesome as well. My family connects to my server for Plex. Mind you, it is all being served direct play. No transcoding is happening in my world because of how I have things set up, and so you would expect no issues because it's all being direct played, and of course there is no issues. What you can also do, if you wanted, is have this be your hosted mini PC for Apollo streaming as well. Look, the 8845HS is pretty good gaming-wise. It will handle all emulation and a ton of modern games as well. And it has an Oculink or USB 4 port if you wanted to even connect an eGPU. But now, all that means is you could have this device sitting there as your Apollo server and just stream to any device you want using the power of this device. And given how much storage bays this has, you could put your entire Steam library on this and play all of it over streaming using this. Honestly, there is a ton of things you can do with a NAS setup, especially a device that runs 24/7. So I'm sure you can think of a lot of different ways to use it. I've given you a few today in today's video. But the long and story short of the AOSTAR WTR Max is that for me, coming from a hodgepodge setup of just wires and disaster, this puts everything into one big device with one cable coming out of it, not including the Ethernet cable. And it's just so much better. It is a combined experience that for somebody like me, who is new to the NAS world, but not new to servers, this nails every checkbox of what I would want from a device like this. Besides maybe size, but I mean, when you have so many bays to use, it's gonna be some sort of big like this is. And so yeah, from my actual perspective, this is actually a great price for what you're getting. You get an enclosed 11 bay solution, 8845HS processor, which is super quick, tons of ports and options, and something that doesn't sound like a jet engine either for fans. And then there's the whole operating system scenario where you can install basically whatever you want, but obviously I'm using Windows. So yeah, this nails everything that it's going for. And on my end, it is an easy recommendation. So that is me reviewing a NAS for the very first time ever. And if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. Again, first time ever. I don't really know what I need to be checking here. I think I nailed all of the points that would matter to me. But if I am missing something, leave me a comment. I can check it out for you. Is this directly connected to retro handhelds and retro gaming? No. Does it matter? No. Can it still help you? Yes, because you can put all of your ROMs and saves and everything on one of these. Also photos and Plex and everything else. There's a lot of uses for a NAS PC. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments and I will help and answer if I can. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk about NAS PCs. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.